sport bet, that's what we do. Hey, I just got. Hey, Mike. Hey, what's going on with the election? Yeah, holding your beer. Hey, put some money for me. Good morning, Australia, and everyone around the world who continue to watch us at Neo Saba Show. We are about to react to another video about the election. So please subscribe and let's go with it.
We are 6 days away from a change of government in the United States. Just 6 days away from when the President of the United States goes from bumbling Biden to a bloke who was at the peak of his powers in Donald Trump. Now, you remember one of the things that we learned out of the American election was that the polls are not quite gospel. Remember how we were told uphill and down Dale that it was close and super close, and even I was telling you at times things were super close. The reality, of course, he won the popular vote, he won all of the swing states, and he is back with a thumping majority in the Senate and control of the House as well. Well, what do the bookies say about the battle here in Australia? First week that we're back on the air, first real week of the election season as we get ready for one that'll happen in the next couple of months. Well, the battle between the Prime Minister and the alternative Prime Minister, interestingly, is one where the bookies are telling us currently Labor is in a world of trouble, and believe it or not, the actual favourite right now, the Coalition. Let's have a look at a whole collection of the bookies that have put their numbers forward. Labor currently is $2.10 and the Coalition is the favourite according to Sportsbet at $1.72.
This is amazing to see, guys. To know that I didn't know that in Australia, our polls is done with the sport bet. Australia, oh my God, you can't surprise me anymore. I thought too, but sport bet, that's what we do. Hey, I just got. Hey, Mike. Hey, what's going on with the election? Yeah, holding your beer. Hey, put some money for me. All right, let's continue.
The same margin for the people after the election will be Peter Dutton. The TAB ever so slightly better for the Labor Party, but still showing that the favourite. Three different bookies, and again, bookies could be wrong. Famously, one of them was very wrong in 2019, but the bookies were so right. In and around the American election, this is going to be my North Star to push through much of the garbage that is there. Also worth noting here too is that we have a start to this election year where we have a Prime Minister who's trying to buy his way out of trouble, an announcement a day, millions here, billions there, and Peter Dutton, who is focusing on values. Now, again, I've got some data for you in a second that's going to help explain how these two teams are prosecuting the early days. But while Peter Dutton is talking about big things like a national day, how it should be enshrined in law, how councils should lose their capacity to basically do anything other than do it on the 26th or don't do it at all.
I'm not an expert in Australian day things, but there is this big thing going on here in Australia where the First Nation people, they feel like that day is not good for them. All right. And others feel like, okay, that's a good day for them. In my opinion, how come we can't just sit down and say, okay, let's find a day that is more favorable to both of us, that we can all sit down and celebrate?
But the Prime Minister, he is playing a very old school game here, which is turn up somewhere and throw money at a problem. Now, Tasmania is a place where the Labor Party holds 2 seats, the Liberal Party holds 1 seat, and then an independent, of course, holds the other. The expectation is that if they lose a seat like Braddon or Lyons, the 2 that Labor currently holds, then, of course, things get worse for the government. They move into minority. Things get better for the bookies' favourite in Peter Dutton. Well, today, the Prime Minister was in Tasmania announcing more money. This time, Davenport, $6 million to events that are there. Why? It's a way of trying to hold on to the seat. But again, does anyone remember this announcement in a couple of days' time?
I want you to understand that every money that the politicians are throwing out there, they are not getting out from their pocket, but they are getting this money from the tax dollars. Therefore, we will have to pay that money in somehow. What is the Australian debt looks like? Between 2007 and 2020, the debt was under 52 billion. That in 13 years, but in just 4 years, that debt have doubled almost to $1 trillion. Yeah, that debt is over $1 trillion actually. The budget between 2023 and 2024 have risen to $1 trillion. That's a lot of money in just 4 years. All right, let's see what is the Australian debt right now has looking like. So this is our actual Parliament website. So I'm sure that will be accurate information. What is that says? Between 2020 between 2007 and 2020, in 13 years, the debt was under 52 billion. But 4 years after 2020, just listen to this, 4 years after 2020, that debt have doubled, almost have actually passed $1 trillion. Our prime minister right now is going around throwing money like a sugar daddy. Hey, you got a daughter, get a daughter too. Like, okay, who is going to pay this money? Who's going to pay this debt instead of finding the way of fixing it? This money, whether we like it or not, we're going to pay in a different ways, such as the increase of everything else, so that they can recover this money, because he doesn't have money. This money comes from the taxpayer dollars. So at this time, you got this is not the way to buy the election by destroying the economy. Hell no. We need to be careful with this.
If the Prime Minister's got $6 million to try to hold in a marginal seat, surely he's got millions of dollars to take care of the charity sector. I'm going to keep talking about this. They should be cracking off hundreds of millions of dollars for the charity sector that is taking care of people right now. They have to be making it easier for the people who are the parents of the kids who are financially struggling to make sure that they do not fall behind in confidence or in any other way when they go to school. Prime Minister, it's up to you. You can hold a press conference a day with an announcement nobody will remember, or you can do something that will actually make people's lives better.
That's a good point right there. I'm not lying. That's a good point. Because what they can't just sit down and come with the actual policy. These people have money that they can use and sit down with people who really understand about the finance, how they can fix this economy. Bad policies make things go bad. It's very simple.
Well, interestingly, today, the Australian Financial Review pulled out the speech, every press conference which has been made by both the Prime Minister and by Peter Dutton since the start of this election year. And they put it through the old computer and they used a bit of AI here. AI analysis shows that the Prime Minister most frequently is using adjectives to paint a more positive vision, including words such as good, important and successful to describe his government. Meantime, Peter Dutton says weak, incompetent, the worst and shameful are among his most colourful and repeated adjectives to describe both the Prime Minister and the government as the weakest since Federation.
That's just a political stand. The one in the government, he's going to say, okay, everything was good. Everything was fantastic. The opposition is going to say everything was weak. Everything was bad. That's a politician stand. So there is no much to it. We can say that because this said that, because the other one said this is a big thing. But nah, I don't see any big deal with this, because all this just political stand. The one who's on the government, of course, he's gonna say everything was good, everything was fantastic. The other one who's in opposition is gonna say, nah, everything was not bad, so I'm the one who can fix everything. So this is not something that I would say is a big deal out of this, but it's good to see. Yeah, let's continue.
Government as the weakest since Federation, while describing himself as a strong leader who would fix the problems. Now, let me explain why this is particularly interesting. Because you see, if the Prime Minister is to win this election, then Australia has to believe that he is a government that has made the country better in the past 3 years. No evidence of that. And if he was to be given even more power into the future, then, of course, he would continue to build the narrative. But the reality is that Australians are much closer to where Peter Dutton is, which is why the bookies are suggesting that there may well be a shock result at the upcoming federal election. In fact, let me show you this here, because there's a whole bunch of polls that are worth showing you. A whole collection of polls that show here about the right and wrong direction of the country. Now, this one is from the Roy Morgan people, and it came out this week, that just 30.5% of people believe the country is headed in the right direction. 54% of people say it's headed in the wrong direction. That number of 30 and a bit is basically the primary vote of the Labor Party right now. But let me show you some more here as we have a look at our next slide from the Essential Research Group. These are the people who come out, and the Guardian polls will often be there. You can see that the right track for the country is just 31%, basically the same as the previous one. And the wrong track is currently at 51%. But then there is this one that I really have to show you, which is, can you name one thing that the federal government has done to make your life financially better? 73% of people can't say. 73% of people can't name one thing. Not too little, too late tax cuts, not all of the other stuff that they claim has made massive changes when it comes to cost of living.
As you say, this is something that I will agree with that, because in Australia, right, they say, oh, we're going to help you. We're going to give you some help. Some help is coming. And they give you $17 a fortnight. I saw this thing. They say, okay, we're going to give you $17 a fortnight to make your life better. How is a $17 a fortnight is going to change anything in anyone's? Yeah, I believe myself the country is heading the wrong direction. I am one of those people who think that the country is heading the wrong direction. If nothing is done, we are going downhill. Yeah.
Sunday nights, by the way, is going to be a particular focus when Kos Samaras and Michael Kroger are going to get right into the state of the race. And I don't just mean the polls, I mean the stuff behind the polls, the machine. It's going to be a big thing. Sunday night, each and every Sunday night here on Paul Murray Live. Well, Kos Samaras, of course, is a former Labor pollster. He's helped the Teals out in the past, but he runs a polling mob called Redbridge. This is what he says about the slogans. At the moment, Labor has a lot more work to do to make sure that its slogan works. Kind of the same as my view, which is if the opinion polls are all saying the country's heading in the wrong direction, a government saying send us back because we've put it in the right direction, they're only where about a third of the country is. What's missing is meaningful policy action. The PM just doesn't have the ballast, being the policy record or reform. Put simply, that's a polite way of saying.
That is something interesting. In Australia right now, we have a problem with immigration. Why? Australia is very tough on immigration, means it's very hard to enter. But the labor shortage is so big right now. I saw this guy. Let me see this if I can find it here. How the shortage of labor is missing here.
The following program contains references to suicide.
Is this a typical day for you?
Now is not a good time. I'll talk to you at lunchtime.
It's too busy to chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
I'm
a
running 3
hardcore
rounds at the
lady.
moment.
Like, is it because she knows she's on camera, or she's like that all the time? Like, yeah, if that's how crazy it is, yeah.
Seeing what Jackie's got a patient for me. So I'm seeing patients in three rooms.
I think we're exhausted. I think we feel undervalued.
I'm struggling for people to pick it in the first place. How am I going to get it off?
Yeah. How are you going to get it off?
I don't know. I honestly do not know.
Okay, I want you guys to look. This guy, he have done everything, planting all this, but look on the ground what is going on right here. On the ground, what's going on? Within that little video right there only, we show shortage in healthcare, education, and agriculture. American, they had a problem so much immigration. In Australia, we need immigration because our birth rate is going downhill. All this government had to do this year, they could just loosen the immigration policy. Let people come in, help with the shortage of this labor. I can guarantee you there's a people out there who be willing, who be happy to go and pick up oranges or mandarin on the ground. But this guy, he's a farmer. All the government had to do was just to find a little policy like that. And they will do more. And it's not going to cost much. Them much money. But it's better them going throwing money everywhere, Ukraine and everything else.
Nothing got better in the past 3 years. What can he point to? Yes, he can point to some rather significant legislation when it comes to things like public housing. He can point to too little, too late tax cuts, but remember the people most in need of those were the people who got the least. People on $45,000 a year were getting $14 a week. Oh, but we've done something about power bills. Wasn't the promise by 2025 they'd be down by $275? Well, of course, they have gone way up.
Everyone is keep talking about the power bill. I find even water bill is higher than electricity bill. I don't know. Oh, but no one want to address that. Why they, oh, let's just throw some dollars around it there and put it there a little bit. How about you sit down and come up with a solution to fix this damn problem to your people? People will appreciate you. Now, but these people, they as long as they get elected, they just want to spend the time going around doing meetings, and then they remember about people elect them. The time is they need to go back again and start election over. So they come up with the, okay, what can we do to close people's eyes and show them that we are something better? Let's go and throw money around like there is no tomorrow for things they don't even need because we forgot.
Government handouts that mean $300 a year, or more importantly, $25 a month is being knocked off the bills, not by reducing the cost of the electricity, but just by paying the electricity companies to knock $25 a month off your bill. Meantime, Mr Samaras says about Peter Dutton and his start to the year, his messaging, how his messaging matches up with the polls, matches up with the bookies, and matches up with the mood of the country. The same part of the country that turned on the Liberal Party just 3 years ago, that turned on the Labor Party, 12 years ago, that turned on John Howard back in 2007, that sliver of Australia, 5 to 10%, that flipped one way or the other. Dutton is tapping into an underlying sentiment that the country seems rudderless, and Albanese is not a strong leader. The mindset that the next 5 to 10 years are very uncertain, and in those times you need a strong leader. Dutton's slogan, which of course is putting the country back on track, capitalises on a lot of low-hanging fruit. But as always, my friends in the press gallery, oh, don't they love this program, and have for the better part of 15 years. Now, occasionally there are some exceptions, and I'm sorry to throw them all in together, but generally speaking, 7 out of 10 are all cheering for this government to find its mojo. And while I am an opinion host, and you expect opinion to come from me, it is weird when people who claim to be independent reporters tell us pretty obviously which side they're going to be batting for. Now, a significant figure in news over at Channel 10 is Hugh Rimmington, formerly over at Channel 9. And he's sort of in and out of the political sphere at the moment, but he decided not to write on the 10 website, but to write on the Turnbull Times today, giving free advice to the Prime Minister about how he could save his backside. Why would any independent journalist be sitting and telling one side of politics how to win, unless, of course, they want that team to win? Anthony Albanese couldn't sell a schooner to a shearer, and there's plenty of criticism in the article, but he says, what would Nick Xenophon do? Put simply, more stunts, and that's the way that he would be able to connect with people. And presumably, if he was able to connect with people, then his message would start to work and he would win. Turned on the Liberal Party just 3 years ago, that turned on the Labor Party, 12 years ago, that turned on John Howard back in 2007, that sliver of Australia, 5 to 10%, that flipped one way or the other. Dutton is tapping into an underlying sentiment that the country seems rudderless, and Albanese is not a strong leader. The mindset that the next 5 to 10 years are very uncertain, and in those times you need a strong leader. Dutton's slogan, which of course is putting the country back on track, capitalises on a lot of low-hanging fruit. But as always, my friends in the press gallery, oh, don't they love this program, and have for the better part of 15 years. Now, occasionally there are some exceptions, and I'm sorry to throw them all in together, but generally speaking, 7 out of 10 are all cheering for this government to find its mojo. And while I am an opinion host, and you expect opinion to come from me, it is weird when people who claim to be independent reporters tell us pretty obviously which side they're going to be batting for.
Yeah, guys, this is another problem here we have in Australia. Is Australian news owned by Americans? Because it seems like everything the left does in America, everything they do here in Australia, I don't know who owns this, but it looks like they're really synchronized with the US media right now. Yeah. But I don't understand, and why always the media is supporting a government that is doing nothing to the. Right now, I'm not in support of any because I have not seen the actual policy that everyone is putting forward for anyone from this 2025 election. So I'm just still looking to see their policy. Let's compare them by policies, not what they say, not what they do. But I can tell you right now, things are not going well. Thank you very much, and that is enough. That's it for me today. That's it for me today. Please subscribe, and you can continue to see this kind of a reaction from me as we continue to go forward. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic day, and continue to be the best you can be. Thank you very much for watching my reaction. Thank you very much for watching my reaction. Thank you very much for watching my reaction. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you can continue to get videos as I upload them. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic day.